I never video the downtime. I hardly ever do. This one and I are just sitting here chilling, looking out over everything. Literally chilling. I don't think it's 20 degrees. And he just went down into there. So there he is. Yesterday that I said I would do a video on Ipox. This is Ipox. Got a little story about Ipox. Everyone, maybe not everyone, anybody who watches all the videos probably remembers the reason Ipox was named Ipox was he had a squirrel pox on this eye. Well, right as that squirrel pox was clearing up, he got something on the other side of his face that I didn't know if it was another pox. There it is. There it is. Let me zoom out and get it. There it is. I didn't know if it was another pox. I don't think it is. I think it's like because it's stayed constant. I think it's some kind of injury he got. He's a male. We had a thing yesterday, and it was interesting. He will take from my hand. It's 12 degrees, and we're just moving fast here. Well, I'll tell the Ipox story later. The thing about Ipox that happened, it was the day before yesterday, and I had something I had to work on the house with somebody. So as we're coming up on that time when we were going to do that, I took a quick walk around outside and there was a hawk. I was alerted to the fact by several squirrels. Found the hawk and he was in somebody else's yard. I had to leave and go there to see because the house was huge and it blocks it. So I went and I found the hawk and I saw Ipox. And here's the weird thing. Ipox was undisturbed. I had to know that hawk was there. There were squirrels alerting. Heard him. I mean, I could hear it. It's hard to explain. So Ipox was in a big open area with a lot of big trees, but he was on a branch. He was not well covered. He was just standing there, and squirrels were alerting. And there was this enormous hawk, and the hawk was closest to him than to anybody else. And I'm freaking out, and I'm walking down the street, and I'm trying to get the hawk to leave, and then I look, and I see this squirrel. I'm like, oh my God, there's a squirrel like right there on the branch, and the hawk could have flown right to him. And then I look, and I'm looking at the squirrel, and he looks, and we made eye contact, and he unmistakable. I'm like, oh my God, it's Ipox. Like, what am I going to do? I knew it was Ipox because this is a squirrel. The reason his name is Ipox, he used to have a squirrel pox on this eye. And then right as that was healing, he got something on his nose that I thought, is that another squirrel pox? But I don't think it is because it's still there and it's white. It doesn't look like I think he's over the squirrel pox, but now he just has a white mark on his nose. So he's unmistakable. And I'm on the street because I can't, you can't just walk on somebody's property. I'm on the street. He's on the tree on that property and I'm looking right and he just made eye contact with me like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I had a commitment to work on the house with somebody but I couldn't just leave him there. But the thing was, this was the weird thing. So often, I mean, almost every time when squirrels there's a hawk, and there was a big hawk. There's smaller hawks and there's huge hawks. This was a huge hawk. Squirrels are usually terrified and crying and looking at me like, don't go, don't go. And like, I just had one yesterday. And they plaster themselves on the tree, with their arms out and they're upside down and they're looking at me. They're plastered like that and their legs are up behind them and they're looking at me like, don't go, please don't go. That's normally what happens. Ipox was looking at me like, whatever, don't worry about it. I swear to God, he was lifting up his arm and just like lazily, just like grooming himself, just licking his paws, licking his arms, like nothing was going on. And I'm like, he had to know there were squirrels alerting. The thing was huge and it was on a tree not far from him and he did not care. I couldn't figure out why. I mean, I don't know if there was a den in the tree he was in that he knew he could get into if he needed to or what. I mean, he's a little bigger of a squirrel, but not, and they all have their winter weight on right now, which makes them a little safer because as squirrels get bigger, things get better. Like the fox squirrels barely even worry about the hawks, which drives me crazy. They don't seem to mind too much. And the black squirrels, it seems like, and maybe it's just an optical illusion, it seems like the black squirrels get even bigger than the gray squirrels when they put their winter weight on, a little bigger, but I could be wrong. they're all Eastern grays, so it doesn't make sense, but it's just, you know, it might be optical illusion, though you would think black is slimming. In any case, he's a bigger guy, but still, I mean, I couldn't understand how he just couldn't be worried about the hawk, but he was looking at me like, go on, don't worry about it. And I was like, oh my God, am I ever going to see this squirrel again? So that's the backstory behind this video right now that I'm showing. Is when he did show up the next day, I was like, thank God. And then but how did he know? How did he know that he was gonna be okay? I don't know how they do what they do, but they're amazing. And I saw Ipox again today, so it was great. He's good. I had done some video on Ipox a few nights ago because we had an incredible thing happen that day or the day before. But then we had another hawk incident the day before yesterday, Ipox. And I wasn't sure that he lived through that one. So then I was afraid to post the other video, but he came here, he's alive. We were on the deck, but I didn't have my phone at the time. And he's okay. So now I can post my Ipox video, and now we have two incidents that we lived through. Ipox doesn't live here. He's on the castle right now. He doesn't live here, so he's kind of slowly working his way home. He lives in somebody else's front yard, so I can't do much when there's a hawk there. And well, anyway, we made it through two disasters, near disasters.